Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Call It Anything podcast. I am Jack, joined by my guest.
Mr. Solis.
We are back here today with another episode of wrestling. Sir, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right, Jack. It's week 7 of the semester, and time's just flying by. I'm behind on grading and behind on planning, but we're rocking and rolling. And I won Husky of the Month for the month of August at my new school.
Nice.
How are you?
I'm doing all right. Family and I are holding up after some recent real life events, but we've been doing all right. And as I told Mr. Solis before recording this, a bit of updates. My family, my dad, brother, and I, with 2 of our uncles, went to the Phillies game this past Saturday. They lost. But that was a needed sacrifice for the Eagles to win on Sunday, given the miracle kick they had to, or the miracle block on the kick that they needed to even win that game.
I'm glad that coming out of the weekend, you had something to lift your spirits.
Yeah, but obviously with that, given that it was an afternoon game, given that it started, I think it was around like 5 that it started, I did not get a chance, at least live, to watch Wrestlepalooza, which is what we're talking about today. I also didn't get to watch All Out. And, that just, it's keeping up with my track record now that we're building of me just not watching a lot of wrestling this year.
You're going to turn, Jack. You're going to say, Mr. Solis, I've had it. I'm gonna be an ESPN head, or you know what I mean, like somebody with a fantasy league, somebody who is watching the Red Zone. I don't even know what the Red Zone is. You're just gonna subscribe, and you're gonna leave wrestling and me in the dust.
Yeah. The next video you see from my other channel is gonna be called "I'm Falling Out of Love with Wrestling, and That's Okay."
Oh yeah. Oh no. Like, legions of people go through this. Goodness, who knows why I haven't, but I've heard of people that just go, yep, I fell off right around X, Y, or Z.
We remember 2011.
Is that the Miz is champion?
Yep, the Miz is champion. WrestleMania 27. We all remember 2019.
Whoa. Goodness.
The one that surprises me always is the pandemic years, where you and I were just like, if it wasn't for this podcast, there's no way we would have been keeping up with wrestling during the pandemic years.
It reminds me of that meme of that guy, that soldier with the hard hat, like the helmet, looking dead-eyed in the camera, with all the stuff happening behind him.
Oh, yeah.
It's us.
Yeah, and it's like when I think about like my dad being a Philadelphia fan all these years, it's like I think about you, I'm like, Mr. Solis has been in this for quite some time. He's had to do some stuff and endure some stuff.
Yeah, I don't have like the Dodgers or the Phillies putting me through season, or Raiders putting me through season after season after season of heartbreak. But I know pain. I assure you, I know pain.
And then you get to tell those people, hey, you experience one heartbreak from your team each year, like whether it's a playoff loss, missing the playoffs, you get to tell them, I experienced that multiple times through the year when they don't put the championship on a certain wrestler, when they don't do certain things. It's like wrestling's so much worse because it's like almost every month you have to go through some type of disappointment from the end of month pay-per-view.
And then they'll start building a story on Monday that makes you think, this is the one, like a gambling addiction. Jack, the pain feels like the 6th gratuitous F5 from Brock Lesnar.
Oh man, yeah. And after going back to rewatch certain stuff, after seeing highlights from other shows, again, it was another end of month pay-per-view cycle where I'm like, just couldn't do that one thing, could you?
Just couldn't do that. Well, to get into it, because I think Wrestlepalooza was a funny and interesting anomaly, and I'll talk to you about what I mean as we get into it.
All right, then, sir. Well, let us get right into it right here. Wrestlepalooza. Um, I think, hold on. I remember getting all our predictions down, but I can't remember if I wrote yours down. But this one's interesting because my dad was leading heading into this show.
That's right. And just to give you context, Jack, when I sent you my predictions, my frame of mind was, what's the most boring, middle of the road, nothing's going to change prediction can I make? And that's how I made each one. Not groundbreaking, earth shattering, generation defining. I'm like, no. What's the most mid approach to booking this show one can take?
Oh, man, yeah. I definitely tried to go out of my way with one of my picks, but obviously that didn't end up happening, and we'll get into that. But Wrestlepalooza, the first show on ESPN. And you would think with such a big event, they're going to try and, have, something noteworthy, newsworthy of this big new move to a different streaming service.
Like, they did it when they moved they moved Raw to Netflix. I still think that show, was itself a pretty worthwhile PLE. Punk versus Rollins and Roman versus Solo and Rhea versus Liv. Like, it was a stacked card that promised a lot of action. We got a lot of action. Did Rhea win the title? Maybe. Yeah. Roman definitively beat Solo in a match people thought they were going to wait until WrestleMania for. So you're like, when they come onto a new network or a new streaming service, you think they're going to put on all the stops to turn some heads.
Yeah, and then, follow it up with a couple weeks keeping that same energy because Rhea did end up beating Liv. Was it at that one? I think so, because then I think it was right before the Rumble. Io won the championship from Rhea on a Raw.
Ah, yes.
And I remember because I really enjoyed that match, even with its commercials. It was like I still thought that was a really good match, and it kept up that kind of the way they like to gaslight the fans, basically being like, oh look, we're having shock title wins, and then it's like it really goes like this after, the farther you get away from that brand new thing like the Netflix move, it just slowly declines back to the expectations.
And it's so funny because, like, can you imagine being one of those cities where, like, you got Grayson Waller versus, like, anybody? You're like, that city got Roman versus Solo.
Oh, man.
We got Rico versus Sheamus for the third time.
But, big old move to Netflix. Will they, have a bang to start it off?
You mean big old move to ESPN?
Right, ESPN, yes. Big old move to ESPN. Will they start off this new era with a bang? Well,
how much bigger of a bang can you get, Jack?
This show started off with John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. That's our opening match. And, what are your thoughts, sir?
Well, Lesnar isn't going to stick around any longer than he has to. He's got a flight to Saskatchewan to catch, But, I mean, it gets, you know what? So, All Out, main event of All Out is happening at the exact same time because that show started earlier in the afternoon in Canada. So, I guess the rationale for a company that doesn't counter program is we're going to counter program Hangman versus Kyle Fletcher with two of the biggest names in professional wrestling.
Sounds about right.
Hangman and Kyle Fletcher was better.
Sounds about right as well.
Do you have any thoughts about the match?
It's the same sort of thoughts I have about this whole entire John Cena retirement run. And that is
Dang.
boo. And if this wasn't a
Dang.
family friendly podcast, I would recite The Rock's words from that one popular meme of his when he attended I think it was Tyrese's album release party. And like, I don't know if
He's standing on a tarmac in front of a plane.
yeah. He's standing outside and they're asking him about it, and he's like, without a shadow of a doubt, I can say it was the biggest piece of bleep.
Whoa. That's really funny.
That's just
And
how I
Jack,
feel about this.
they had John Cena coming out with like every child from Indianapolis out there to cheer him on. And like he has to in his mind know what's gonna happen. Why'd they bring all them kids out there?
Yeah, oh my gosh.
It would have been more interesting if Brock Lesnar hurt any of them kids, or if any of them kids try to help him.
Yeah, and then it's like, all for what? A rehash of
All for what?
what, 2014 SummerSlam?
Uh-huh.
Like
Yeah, I heard somebody say that on YouTube. They said that like it worked then because we had never seen it like happen before. But in 2025, we've seen it. You know, it doesn't quite hit the same.
we've seen this Brock Lesnar match multiple times from the past like 10 years since that 2014 moment. And
Yeah,
it's like,
coupled with like, yeah,
and I was gonna say, Marco also spoiled it for us. We were at the Diamondback game, and I think it was barely like the first or second inning of the game against the Phillies, and Marco's like, he shows us the image, and my dad's like, "Why are you spoiling us?" But then also like,
that's
as soon
funny.
as I saw Marco like show me that, I was like, "Yeah, I don't even care about rewatching this match other than for the sake of, doing the podcast." But I was like, "What a bunch of bull."
Um, it so it brings me to the point I wanted to make, Jack, about like what's happening with Wrestlepalooza that I took for granted. It comes up later, but it occurs to me, Jack, that WWE is doing this thing that they do, where they're catering to the fan that's seeing them for the first time. They're like, we're on a new network that's probably reaching more eyes than any network they've ever been a part of, say for Fox. And they're like, we're going to, whatever we're doing it for somebody who's never seen us before. And Michael Cole at commentary, I thought was like un like not deservedly, but like he just seemed more excited than I expected him to be because that guy has been in this company for like 30 years. Like this is vindication for them. They've been ignored by ESPN and the sports world forever, and now they're being warmly embraced. You know what I mean? They're part of the family. You got baseball, football, basketball, WWE. They've wanted this forever. And so Michael Cole's like, we've made it. We've made it, Jack. These people are sitting on billions of dollars and they've just made it. And so I feel like this is like, hey, someone who's never seen a John Cena Brock Lesnar match, let's show you something really cool. Well, you and I, Jack, we seen it with a T. We seen it.
Yeah, we've seen it, and of course, it isn't any different from the time that we did see it.
Nope.
I do
And
find
you
that
sorry,
funny about the whole
you
we made it.
you couple the catering to the wrong fans with the fumble John Cena retirement tour. You love to see him put over the young up and comer Brock Lesnar. Sure glad he had 6 dates. I'm sure glad 6 dates left on his contract. I'm sure glad one of them was spent on a guy who, as Tom Campbell put it, beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania 30. He really needed the rub, brother.
Yeah, I just have been so baffled by the way they've handled John Cena's entire run. It really, it is very reminiscent of the way people feel about like a lot of different wrestlers like careers where they're just like, I wish they would have politicked more. And it's funny, John Cena of all guys decides not to politic for his final run, and it's like that's the moment when you need to just be overruling of so much stuff. Like get it. The guy wants to do what's best for the company, but it's like, dude, how do you not even see that what they're trying to do isn't what's best for this company? You know, like, because this final run, who has it helped out? Like, really think about it. Who has it helped out? Because that's what a lot of wrestlers' final runs are supposed to be, a final story that really helps out a lot of different talents, gives them different spotlights. Even if those talents are losing to the talent that's leaving, it's like they get big spotlight matches. They get, card positions on a card that they likely wouldn't have gotten before this final run. And it's like, who's benefited from it? Because Cena hasn't benefited. None of the other talent that he's gone against so far this year have benefited. Like, it really goes down as a giant nothing burger.
If you're looking at it from a creative standpoint, John's benefited from this. They've sold billions of t-shirts in every color for the last year to people who already had t-shirts in most colors with his face on it. And he's traveled the world. If it served anyone, it served shareholders. Nobody's from their end looking at this as a disappointment in the least, because they selling out packed houses all across the world for people to be able to see John Cena and shout his name one last time. And I think this is actually doing a lot for John just on his way out. The Undertaker wishes he called his shot a year out and was able to say goodbye 25 times, as bad as the matches and the creative might be, he is still getting that closure that a lot of guys don't get. Now, he has just started to say, I want to fight AJ Styles, and he should have been doing this all year. He should have just been doing that. Bryan Danielson, here's my Cody Rhodes list. Here's the list. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But listen, when Gunther puts him down in December for good, and Gunther becomes the unstoppable behemoth that we all know him to be, it'll all be worth it.
Maybe. Would also have been worth it having to sit through all the different opponents we had to sit through with John Cena.
It's been this has been your life, Randy Orton, CM Punk, R-Truth. I've enjoyed it. I've also had zero hopes for it because John Cena's never been my favorite guy. Maybe if somebody's been a Cena mark, like you and your brother, I'm sure you've got your word life chain, your chain gang chain somewhere.
I do have a... Oh, wait, no, never mind. That's not even Cena's. I was going to say I have a U.S. title.
Oh, did you see... This is spin?
No. Marco used to have a spinning one, though.
Did you see the Edge highlight?
Yeah. I saw that one.
The Edge highlight?
Yeah, I saw that
Somebody said AEW just had a better tribute to John Cena on the same day that John Cena fought a match. Oh, that was incredible. That was wild.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a good one. This Brock Lesnar match was not.
It was not. After that, though, we got the tag match between The Vision, Braun and Braun, versus the Usos reuniting.
Yes, and I've further solidified in my understanding that this show is for the people who are tuning in for the first time, because Jey Uso and Jimmy are like, who's never seen the Usos before? Everyone get your cell phones out. We're going to show you how to do the yeet or whatever. I mean, it was very instructional. It was very welcome to the club. And I'm like, who are you talking to?
What are your thoughts on this one, sir?
This was a sloppy mess, and I can't believe more people aren't calling it for what it was. An absolute train wreck.
Yeah. I was, again, not at all interested in this match. It was just, I don't know. There was nothing really to save it for me, okay, LA Knight's the special guest referee, sure. Braun and Braun are in this, and they're facing the Usos, which has probably been happening for... I know it has, this exact match hasn't been happening, but, we've probably seen, some variation of it with like I always see like people talking about that like they can predict how Raw is gonna happen because of how much structure, how much of a structured show it's felt for like the past couple of months, where it's like it's pretty easy to guess what's gonna happen.
Some combination of the vision and the baby faces and the Usos, you know? It's not unlike, what was it, a year or two ago, where it was like, what version of the baby faces and the Judgment Day is going to end this Raw?
Oh, I know. You could always expect that Judgment Day needle drop, basically.
That's really funny. There was one part of the match, Jack, one part where I felt the most vindicated. Can you tell me, Jack, if you watched it? You might have missed it because you were so over all of it, but there was one part that I felt like the most seen, the most heard. I was like, golly gee, he did it. Can't believe it.
Did Braun finally hit a spear correctly?
Better. He ran around the ring and hit Jimmy with a leaping shoulder tackle, and Michael Cole called it as such. He leapt into it, took him down, and Michael Cole goes, "What a shoulder tackle." I stood up in my apartment by myself and said, "Yes. Yes." I was Daniel Bryan. Yes. Yes.
You know, you talk about the whole finally being welcomed to the sports world joining ESPN. That should show you as well using that terminology rather than like their usual terminology. Classifying it as a shoulder tackle really comes off as we're trying to use the correct word for it.
Yeah, he's short. He's the only thing Michael Cole's not saying is I think he got cut from some NFL team. There was like, you know, when we want to talk about things we've never seen, like in the special referee stipulation with LA Knight, I liked his approach of if the Brawns were going to cheat, he was going to call them out on it, and if the Usos were going to cheat, he was going to He was going to turn a blind eye because, you know, he's a baby face with an edge. I thought that was interesting. I was like, that's good. And then Bronson Reed, I think the strongest performer out there by far, taking his chair to Jimmy, going, "What you gonna do?" He hit me first. It was great.
Yeah, Bronson definitely has been the highlight of this entire Vision run for me.
Oh, 100%.
I am super glad to see him get that shine because I've been on the Bronson Reed train for years.
Yep, you sure have. This has been documented here on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Any other spots stand out to you, Jack? Spots or botches?
There was one botch that happened, but I can't remember it now because it was like I had seen it while I was at the game where like it just came across my feed and I was like, my goodness, that was horrible. I'm trying to remember what it was. Was it a super kick spot? Man, I can't remember what it was now, but I remember seeing it.
Jay, Braun Breaker is in the corner. Jay goes for the running hip attack. He like runs too fast and jumps too hard because no part of his body made any contact with Braun Breaker. Like his butt hits the second turnbuckle. He flies right over him, and the camera catches all of it.
Yeah,
there's that one.
It might have been that one. I'm trying to remember. It was one that I just remember seeing like on Instagram or something. I was just like, I was blown away by how bad it was. Like I was like, my goodness.
How about the one where Breaker tries to jump over Jimmy to break up the hot tag and knock Jay off the apron, but like he either trips over Jimmy, he doesn't make any contact with Jay, but he's somehow able to knock him off the apron to block the hot tag.
Oh, I don't think I saw that one. Then that might have slipped me. But
all righty, you must be talking about Jack the piece of resistance. The botch so bad, LA Knight brought it up on Monday when Jey Uso hit Braun Breaker with a chair and then made himself bleed.
Oh, I saw that one, and I was like, I remember seeing what was it? I saw the report come out that like he was in concussion protocol, and I was like, how the heck did he get into concussion protocol? And then I watched the match, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
I have no idea how you say it makes sense. I watched it 2 or 3 times looking for it, but it just because of the camera cut, he hits Breaker with a chair. And then the next thing you know, he's bleeding from his forehead. And then he starts calling the rest of the match as loud as John Cena, telling Braun to spear him. It was ugly. It was ugly.
Yeah. Very sloppy match that.
You know what I blame? Those EMF filters they had running out there that supposedly block, radiation from you. Did you see about that? Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I saw that. I was like,
that's what I blame.
Yeah, and it makes sense they brought it up that like we didn't see a whole lot of people talking about, but like it should have been talked about more because it's like I don't know, like things have gotten weird in the wrestling community, especially the online one, because it's like it's gotten to the point where like it feels like no one's willing to like really criticize matches because they're just like everything spirals out of control basically.
You know who criticized this match in a surprising way?
ESPN.
Yes, with that amazing write-up telling this is great, Jack. ESPN giving them the business, giving that show a C. I'm like, heck yeah, dude. Triple H, you can ignore us all you want. Your boss just told you your show was mid, literally and algebraically and mathematically.
Yeah, not a good start to this new era.
No.
But maybe we're looking at the saving grace here because we have Stephanie Vaquer versus Io Sky for the vacant Women's World Championship. This was probably the match I saw the most interest for.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And for context, they've tried to have this match twice on Monday Night Raw on Netflix. Both times, there was interference that kept it from getting a definitive winner. So this is the third time they fought. Who was going to win, walk away with the championship vacated by Naomi?
Yeah, this was as soon as we got back from the game, my dad was like, do you want to watch Wrestlepalooza? And because I had already seen like some spoilers and I had already seen like how bad things were doing, I was like, I don't really know. But I was like, well, gotta watch Stephanie and Io because that's the match of interest right there. What are your thoughts on this one, sir?
It was good. It was real good. It was as good as Silk Song. Like we've seen Hollow Knight. And we were like, but can it live up to the hype? And it can, Jack. Sure, there's some callbacks and some, references or allusions to their previous work, but I enjoy it and take it all.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I definitely got to rewatch a lot of it though, but I really enjoyed from what I can remember off the top of my head. The two worked really well together, but I think one of the downsides to the fact that they had to deal with what's it called, how do I put it, their two previous matches, having to know that how wrestlers are if you know something's gonna end in a DQ or your match isn't gonna get fully fulfilled, they don't do a whole lot in that sense. It made me think of that. And I'm I think that's the one downside to those two matches having that, because it really felt like in this match they were trying to go not necessarily full throttle, but they were trying to they were trying to have a full, complete match, and because they didn't get to practice maybe some of those things in a full match beforehand, it kind of led to certain moments, where it probably wasn't as good as it could have been, Like, I think the one that gets highlighted is, it was like a spot where they were going off the ropes leading into, like, an arm drag, and it looks very slow, and you're like, both these women can work at a faster pace, like, and a higher speed. Why does that spot look so awkward like that? And, like, that's when I think to something like a logic like that, and I'm like, maybe it's just because this is their first time fully going that level of speed,
Yeah. You know what? Commentary made an interesting point at the beginning. And that's something I took for granted. And I'm really glad Michael Cole said, like, this was the biggest match of Stephanie McCour's, like, life. Like, you think about where she's been and the audience that she's been in front of. Like, I don't know if any of them can compare to the audience of ESPN, right? So, like, Michael Cole was talking to Pat McAfee about, like, jitters, about being on that stage, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, it was interesting to point out that, like, yeah, no, like, this is the first of many, like, large-scale arena matches that Stephanie McCour is going to have,
Yeah.
And when you bring up, like, some spots that you just sort of, like, it didn't hit for you, right, Jack? Somewhere in this match, I'm thinking about those 2 Raw matches, and I'm honestly of the mind that I like the second one even more than this one. That second one was so good, Jack. I pulled my notes app out. I put it down. I said, I got to rewatch that later. Not sure if they were going to meet by the end of the year. Like, this might have been a WrestleMania thing. This might have been a Royal Rumble thing. I'm like, I'm going to think about putting in for Jack a match that ended in a DQ, because, like, when that DQ happened, I was like, I actually don't even care. That match was, as much as we got, it was amazing.
Yeah. So funny enough, I just pulled up like in one of, like, the result articles that typically come out, just because I wanted to see if I could refresh my mind on one of these spots that, like, had happened. And in the breakdown of this match, it actually includes something. Again, this might tie into the thing that I brought up about, like, the slower pace that they had in certain moves, you know, like, why weren't they as fluid?
Yeah.
I had to fact check this, and it's actually true. It brought up when the last time each woman was in action. Stephanie defeated Kyrie September 15th. Io defeated Raquel August 18th.
Wow.
A whole month without having a match.
Wow. These guys aren't running house shows.
Yeah, well, that's the last time she competed, was a house show. The last time she competed on an actual live event was the 22nd on SmackDown in a dark match. But before that, August 18th, defeating Raquel. The 24th was the last time she had even wrestled, point blank, period.
Goodness.
A whole month without wrestling. It makes you think, like, how much ring rust was there. Obviously, she still had her segments, but it's like, that's a whole month without wrestling.
And what was the Usos' excuse and the Braun's excuse? They've been fighting every Monday.
That might just, come down to a talent thing.
Dang. But this is, and you know what's wild about this match, Jack? Like, honestly, I'm rooting for Vicaire. But if Io won, I would have been mad.
Yeah, I definitely kind of had that same mindset. I think, did all three of us pick Vicaire, or did you pick Io?
No, I picked Vicaire.
Okay, yeah, all three of us picked Stephanie, and, like, my dad and I were, like, really talking about, like, trying to figure out, and, I ended up swaying him towards Stephanie because I was like, you don't think Asuka interferes here? Because, again...
Oh, I heard that, Jack. I heard people predict or wonder if that was going to happen on Saturday.
Yeah, so I kind of swayed him with that, but also I was just like, I feel like if we give Io the belt here, even if it's for the sake of giving it to an established name, to give some stability with its recent, like, with the way it's been recently with, like, the title changes. I was like, even if we do this for that sake, as good as she's been wrestling this year and people have been praising her, I feel like if they give her this win, people are really going to start doing the Rhea turn on her and talking about, like, oh, the belt's just always on Io. Io's always getting the belt, you know. Like, seeing people turn on her like that, I was like, even if it's completely justified to give it to her, I feel like that's what's going to end up happening. So they're more than likely going to give it to Vicur to give a fresh new face, a fresh new look, and to, you know, kind of hopefully start a new, I don't want to keep saying the word era, but like a new chapter in the women's division of this title, you know, to like give it some, like a breath of fresh air, basically.
I agree. Would we have been calling her Io Hogan? Hulk Sky.
Oh man, that really makes me think though. Like, you know, me bringing up like, oh, you know, we finally have a new title holder.
Yeah,
it really makes me think back to I think it was 2021 before Sasha lost the belt to Bianca, where you and I were like talking about like the women's titles, specifically like at the time the Raw Women's Championship, and we're like, man, does just keep getting pinballed between the four horsewomen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's it's been a while, and you know what? Bring it up now, Jack, so that we can celebrate this new face, this new, you know, personality, wrestling style. Before we move away from this match, she hit the Cara bomb. She hit all the moves. They weren't enough to beat Io, so she had to hit the spinal tap. I don't know what you call it, but it was a really cool move off the top rope. I like that. I need to dust something off that looks really cool to put this one away.
Yeah. I always like when wrestlers do that. It's always been one of my praises, your critiques of Gunther.
I mean, listen. He put Goldberg away, and he's gonna put Cena away in December. And how can I say anything against the ring general after that?
Oh man, but yeah, I thought it was a good enough match. I don't know if I'd say it was end of year list quality, you know, end of year list esque. But you know, it was still good. I was like, I'm happy with that match. I'm happy with that being especially their first full match with one another.
Yep.
But from there, we move on to yet another point of interest for a lot of people that probably got a lot of people to tune into WWE for the first time in a while. We were talking about lapsed fans at the beginning of this podcast episode. CM Punk and AJ Lee facing off against Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. This definitely brought back some lapsed fans.
Sure, absolutely, folks. Buying the new AJ, AJ shirt.
Yeah, this one I was definitely interested in because I was like, I'm not too interested in seeing Becky and Rollins back together, but we'll give it a chance.
Except they're doing it differently this year, Jack, and they're doing it better. They come out dressed as both dressed like Seth Rollins. Like they match. They're full of themselves. Like this, you know, Becky did that heel run. Remember when she was wearing all the janky stuff?
Yeah.
Like he's doing that again, but again, it's better. And I don't know what they did about her music. They changed it. They rolled it out. Then they must have tweeted. I like it now more than I did when they introduced it. They were looking for the right segment to play. They were looking for the right part to start and play it because they played it once and I'm like, what the heck's happening? But yeah, no, I really like their presentation.
Yeah. I also like to get the double pop. They've been doing Punk's music first and then AJ's music.
Mm,
You know, you talk about
clever.
maximizing pops, like they do it like that to, first get the pop from CM Punk coming out, and then getting the pop when AJ comes out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What are your thoughts on this match, though?
I think the obvious story to tell was to make CM Punk suffer the longest and keep AJ out of the match for as long as possible to get the crowd excited for her imminent hot tag.
Yeah, you knew it was coming.
Yeah.
We mentioned, them doing things differently this time around. I did like some of the heel tactics, like Rollins skipping around AJ's like prone body, and
Yeah.
I found it so funny for the sole reason that people used it as an opportunity to start flaming Rollins for the clear aging of his knees. Because they were like,
Mm-hmm.
that man does not know how to skip, and they were like, man, did, did those knee injuries that he had really cook his mobility? Because that man
Wow.
is barely moving on those skips. And I was like, man, Seth Rollins is probably looking at all this like, how did this simple spot of me, trolling AJ Lee turn into me getting cooked for my knee health?
He's 50 Cent. What did I do? I thought, again, like we talked about the special referee spot with a twist, right? They did this thing where Becky got CM Punk when the ref wasn't looking. Boo you, right? And the ref like missed it. And then like right after, AJ Lee got Seth Rollins' face while the ref wasn't looking. Just I don't know. It was an interesting way of like before like special referees always got to go, hey, I'm calling it right down the middle, mister. Hey, I'm not letting you get away with anything either. This was like the opposite of that. It's like we're gonna both play dirty.
Yeah, and I think that especially works well for the set of people involved because technically all four people have kind of always been like that their whole careers. Like, whether
Yeah.
babyface or heel, they've always been the type to be like, or like, more specifically, when all four of them have been baby faces, they've always kind of been the ones to lean and teeter and basically be like, just because I'm a baby face doesn't mean I'm going to be like completely dumb and not kind of use the same tactics that my opponent does.
Or use tactics that I know would work, effectively,
Yeah.
I want to put a little pin on that, Jack. I'm going to put a pin right here, a little shiny pin, a little reminder, because I'm going to talk about it in the next match. I think you're absolutely right. I think Punk, Rollins, Becky, AJ, they all have a bit of an edge to them where, hey, if no one's looking, I'm going to rake your eyes or, pull your hair.
Actually, sir, it's 2025. You mean they have a bit of a cope to them?
Ah! Jeff, you're a legend.
Oh, man. I'm so glad you went back to
My
just.
only other thought about yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. The only other thing I have to say about this match, Jack, is that it was too long.
Yeah, that was kind of my criticism, too. Initially, when we watched, I was kind of falling asleep because obviously, game finish, takes some time to get back to good old home. So it was like, and then of course we watched EO Stephanie first. So I think by the time we got to CM Punk, AJ, Seth, and Becky, um, geez, I'm gonna sound like I'm so old for a young person, but it was like 10-ish, 10:30-ish, and I was already like knocking out halfway
Yeah.
through this match. And then it finished up, and I was like, I don't remember anything except getting up and telling my dad, all right, I'm just going to go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a paint by numbers match. it went on for way too long, and I definitely started playing Silk Song somewhere. Like, I don't know. It just sort of occurred to me that like we weren't going home, and I'm like, all right, listen, I'm just gonna be hanging out here. Let me know if something interesting happens. Nothing interesting happens. When I say nothing interesting happens, I mean no one hit end of days on anybody. Remember that move? Remember that moment?
Yeah, and it's funny you bring
Golly.
that up because I think that's like a common criticism I have now of wrestling. Like, at first I was thought, man, maybe my attention span is just getting cooked that I can't like sit through most of these matches without doing something in the background, and then I feel kind of bad because I'm not
Yeah.
giving my full undivided attention. But I'm like, when's the last time any of these matches have warranted my undivided attention? Like every time I've tuned in for a
Yeah, I
match,
watched.
I'm forced to do something in the background because nothing's happening.
I watched Stephanie McClure versus Io Sky, eyes glued to the TV the entire way. This match, I'm like, okay, listen, I've seen a few versions of this match too, like the Uso Braun match. I'm gonna like if something big happens, I'll rewind and do it. But listen, nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah, nearly half an hour. It's like I don't think
uh,
this match should need to go that long.
oh,
It
so I'm like,
definitely.
listen, I don't want I don't want to point fingers, but some of them, not some of them, Punk can't go half an hour anymore. Like he's a man slowing down, and like they're all competent and capable professionals, but Punk's old. Like Punk's old, and AJ's got years worth of rust. We should have had a few AJ matches before we got this one. We needed her to like squash some people. But like the combination of she's super rusty and he's super rusty, like they dictated the pace, and it took forever to get to where we could have gotten in half the time.
Yeah, definitely. But still a good welcome back moment. Still one of the few highlights from this show.
AJ tapped out Becky, which I called. I actually thought she was going to pin her, but I forgot what AJ's finisher was. So put a big old submission on her and got her to tap out. And she did something really funny on Twitter. She said, I was obviously swatting at a bee. And she superimposed a bee on the video to make it look like there was a bee floating by her face. That's incredible. Like, the best stuff isn't even on TV.
Oh, I know. Like we got Cena AJ one last time through Twitter.
you know.
But
And the most of the show's going to have to be on Twitter, too, because he's not coming on TV.
yeah. But what's it called? It's funny you mentioned that because it's like I can't remember AJ ever having a pinning move. I always remember her using the Black Widow.
Black Widow. That's what it's called, and I definitely knew that.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head ever seeing her hit like a pinning maneuver. She probably has, but I just can't remember off the top of my head what it could have been.
I know revisionist people are working real hard to revise history, Jack. But you might recall that she grew popular in a time when there wasn't a lot of wrestling happening.
Yeah. I think I mentioned so many times on this podcast whenever people try and bring up stuff from that like 2010-ish to 2013-ish era of wrestling, and I'm like, you can't revise anything. I was there.
Oh no, I was there. You wanted to try to convince me Nikki Bella was a ring technician?
Uh,
No.
but just like that, we are ready on to our main event: Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre for the undisputed WWE Championship.
You know what really shake the foundations of this entire industry, Jack, on this historic event on ESPN?
The main title changing hands.
Wouldn't that be just something else? Wouldn't I have to tune in next week to see just what's going to happen to the good guy?
Would be one of the better stories.
Wade Barrett is going into overtime on the commentary, like talking for Drew about how he keeps getting screwed by the system, by the man, by the ref. And Michael Cole is going into overtime on himself about, taking accountability for your actions and not blaming others and blah, 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 blah. But this again, Jack, like their rhetoric definitely seemed like they were talking to people who have been watching wrestling for the last half their life. They haven't been watching for the overwhelming majority of their life. So they're definitely needing to give people a one-on-one crash course on who these characters are. Yeah. And they did that very well. Yeah. Hey, remember that shiny pin I put on your comment?
Yeah.
Time he wrestles, I'm reminded that Cody Rhodes isn't anything you said about Seth, CM Punk, AJ Lee, or Becky Lynch. He doesn't have the edge. He doesn't have that I will do whatever it takes. He's too good.
Except for that random time he tried to kill AJ Styles.
Yeah, in France, right? Anything changes in Europe, but, I don't know. Like, maybe what I wanted, if Drew wasn't going to win, he just needed to really hurt Cody, but it was just so middle of the road.
Yeah, and then if anything, this match, it just kind of proved to me that like nothing really changed when we switched creative heads and owners of this company. Like things in this business are still very much the same. It's the same reaction I had to a couple of the outcomes from All Out, where I'm just like, people can try and say they're different. People can try and say they are the alternative. But at the end of the day, they conform to what wrestling has always been. And, I bring that up for this match specifically because it's like, you would think with all the success he's had since 2020, you would think with all the work he's put in, you would think with how well he did with Punk last year, it would be rewarded in some kind of way. And yet with a match like this, with such a clean outcome, it is still so very clear that just like the guy before him, Triple H, just like the booker before him, has his guys, and if you are not one of his guys, you will not be given the opportunities, even if you go through all the hoops and,
grab all the brass rings.
Yeah, you are just not going to be given that opportunity, because if there was any more clear message that Drew McIntyre is not a Triple H guy, it's a match like this, it's an outcome like this that makes you just see it, and then you look at all the stuff he's been going through since like 2020, and it's just like, my goodness, this man is somehow just fallen out of favor with the entire like upper brass.
The last booker gifted him a sword as part of his re-signing deal, but I hear you, Jack. I think that's a worthwhile conclusion to draw. There's a lot of reasons to believe it. I have my own. And after Saturday night, this is what I walked away thinking. Golly gee, Drew McIntyre must make so much money. He doesn't care where he is on the card or whether he is actually champion. And, wrestling has a long history of people who should have been champion for longer or more times or at all, right? I wonder if he and guys like him see themselves in the same camp as Mr. Perfect, Roddy Piper. But no, Jack, I think that guy makes so much money. He doesn't care what they do with his character.
Yeah, definitely. And then also it's like, we brought up the whole Twitter thing. How much more does Drew do on social media than we see it on the actual shows?
I hear you. I really hear you. But yeah, Cody wins because Cody wins, and I'm glad I picked him because I said the most boring way to end this show is if Cody wins, and Cody won.
Yeah.
Now, honestly, I don't know if it works because now Cody's going to fight Seth Rollins and defend his Crown Jewel Championship.
Mm-hmm.
You technically couldn't do that with Drew. So, like, if we are giving them the benefit of the doubt that they are planning for longer than a month, I think they maybe anticipate wanting to put on a crown jewel match, and they needed Cody to have a championship to do it.
It makes me wonder what they're going to do for the women, though, since Liv is out.
Stephanie McClure. Oh, you're right. Oh, you know what? I think I heard them say that she's going to fight the winner of SmackDown's Women's Championship match, Tiffany, Jade, or Nia. Oh, I really don't want her to fight any of the women. Oh, no. Oh, no. I just said it out loud and I did the math. And what happens if she has to fight Jade? What happens if she has to fight Nia? Nia's going to kill her. No, Jack. No. And Tiffany's just going to be boring.
Yeah, that SmackDown side of things is just... they're as cooked can be.
Oh, I just had like the worst crisis in the world thinking about this.
But that puts the bow on Wrestlepalooza, and I mean that just goes to show you the quality of this show. That recently, Mr. Solis and I, we've been going to 2-hour mark. We've been going way past the 2-hour mark. With one another. We're barely at 56 minutes on this show.
Well, check it out, Jack. Let's see how much time this takes me. On my notes app, because I'm fed up with this company, I wrote down every corporate sponsor that was shoved in our faces, either through Michael Cole's commentary on the ring or at ringside. Watch this, Jack. Listen to this. Wingstop, Xfinity, ESPN, Prime, The Drink, Papa John's, Chime, Riyadh, Walmart, Fireball, Aviator, Slim Jim, V-Better, Aries, Old Spice, Cricket, and that stupid whiskey. What's it called? America something or other?
I can't remember.
Throughout the night. One Wheatley so good it makes me neatly or something like that. All of that, Jack. I don't know how many that was. But golly, they still have the nerve to charge as much as they do. I'm telling you, you know who John Cena's retirement run has benefited? Drew McIntyre.
Oh man, yeah, I could see that. But yeah, not the start that you would hope for this new era, quote unquote. And like you mentioned earlier, ESPN laid into them. Their writers laid into them. And they basically said what so many fans have been saying for the past couple of months, and that's your women's division is really carrying you. And, I mean, I don't, again, this wasn't in the cards. So they must be working on it, currying better, more favor, golly. I just had a stroke in that sentence. They're working hard on currying more of a favor, greater favor from ESPN as they put together that show in Perth. You're going to get Cena versus Styles. We got Rollins versus Rhodes. We're going to get Stephanie McClure on the card against somebody. Yeah, and what's it called? That's what I was going to bring up to you, if you would believe this or not. So, Rollins and Cody had that segment last Monday, or this past Monday. Yes. To hyping up for that match at Crown Jewel. Yeah. Can you believe it? With that one promo alone, I've already seen someone make a My Way match hype video for Seth and Cody. You got to send that to me. Yeah, I'll find it again and send it to the one that we have with Marco, my dad, you and I. Yeah. Because I saw it and I was like, it's been one segment and we're already doing the My Way stuff. You know what I saw somebody put together, and it was so good, Jack. I was like, you needed this to be on Raw on Monday. Because I saw that segment, I'm like, okay, I mean, whatever. Somebody put a montage of Cody on his podcast or a different podcast bringing up Seth's watch. That was included in the hype video.
he goes, I'm really bummed. I haven't seen Seth wear it once. And he asked Becky, did he lose it? And she goes, no, he didn't lose it. I'm like, these things actually happened? He's been asking? This is a point of the real story? Wow. Wow. And the watch had a 40 on it.
Yeah. Oh, man.
It's me, my way or the highway.
Any, just try and add some length to this episode for the loyal viewer that is my dad. Did you catch? You told me you caught some of All Out. Any thoughts from that show?
Yeah. Do you mind any spoilers?
No, go right ahead. I pretty much got all of it spoiled for me by this point.
I watched the whole show. Save for 2 matches, I let myself get up and just do random things around the apartment. The Hurt Business triple threat. I mean, not triple threat. Trios match. I didn't care. And then the women's match, I should have paid more attention to, but I don't think I missed anything. The matches of the night for me were Mark Briscoe versus MJF, the tables and tax match. I thought it was interesting they put tables in it as well. I mean, I think it could have been a tax match. Like, it was so great. Mark Briscoe comes out. They had buckets of tax at the corners of the ring. 4 corners, right? Mark Briscoe makes a beeline for the ring. He's no fun or games. And he just takes a bucket. This is before the bell rings. And he just starts pouring them on the mat. And then he takes another bucket. He just starts pouring them on the mat. And people are going crazy. And MJF's doing the best facials like ever. And he pours all 4 buckets on the ground before the match even starts. These guys are walking all over these tacks. So much so that the commentary say that they're slipping. There's so many tacks lodged into their shoes that they're losing friction with the mat. It's great. And they spent so long, Jack, teasing MJF, falling into the tacks. Mark Briscoe gets thrown in a couple of times immediately. But you get it. You get him to go in. Oh, it was crazy. Oh, it was so good. It was like, like Booker T. And the J Driller on the tacks. That was better than the entirety of Wrestlepalooza.
Oh man, yeah, that's definitely one of the ones I marked to watch.
The referee had these giant gloves on so he can count on the ring mat that's covered in tacks.
I saw the picture of his shoe by the end of it.
The other match that's worth talking about was to no surprise, the triple threat for the unified title. It's Okada versus Konosuke versus Mascara Dorado.
Yeah.
And you're like, Mascara Dorado, what a funny outlier. One of these things is not like the other. And he seems like somebody they just plucked from CMLL to take the pin. And the story throughout the matches are you got 2 Don Callis family guys who don't like each other and are being really passive aggressive about it throughout the match, and it's great. Non-verbally, just it's great. Just all the non-verbal ways they're taking digs at each other. You know, my favorite is Okada does the camera pan spot with the finger, right? Wide shot finger.
Yeah.
But he holds the finger. And he turns 90 degrees so that he's facing and holding it to Konosuke. And it was incredible. That was a good spot. That was an incredible... Was it spot of the weekend? It's up there, Jack. And then Mascara Dorada, it's like he heard me in the things that I said about him because he said, hold my... hold my... what's the word? Hold my... what do you think he'd be drinking, Jack? Hold my prime bottle. And he just goes to town on these 2. It was a clinic, Jack. He was hitting all kind of moves on both men out of the ring onto the outside, all kind of twists and twirls. And I'm like, you shut me up, didn't you? I was trying to put a stereotypical drink in his hand, but I went with prime. I think I made a better move. And then the last match, the championship match of Hangman versus Kyle Fletcher, it was admirable. 2 guys that work really well. No no Don Callis family interference. I'm trying to think. Like, it was just a well fought match. Like, I don't know if anyone thought Kyle was going to win, but it was a good showing for sure.
Yeah,
Hangman is a seasoned vet, holding his ground. I don't remember there being any shenanigans at all.
yeah. I was gonna say, talk about being so, you know, so used to the way wrestling is. You would have thought like, oh, no Don Callis family members going to interfere in this match. Well, that's because it's a newly debuting member of the Don Callis
Yes,
family.
100%. Or Don Callis himself. Oh, you know what was good? Brian Danielson is on commentary, and like no, Brian Danielson's commentary played like really shone through in the John Moxley Darby Allin casket match. It was wild to hear him talk about the match and put away his biases up until the point where you're reminded, oh, actually, John Moxley is why he's retired. Like, there was a minute where he let it all go and he was rooting for Darby, and he goes, to hell with being unbiased. Kill him, Darby, kill him. That was a good match, too. That did exactly what you said, Jack. He sent all the Death Riders to the back. They're not going to interfere. But guess who did? It was Pac. Ermagers. We forgot he was a thing.
Yeah, I saw that he's back. He has shorter hair now.
He does. He does. But that was another good match. Like, that was a good, like, solid, worth to watch match.
Yeah, I want to check out All Out because it's typically a show that always, hits pretty well at times. Especially
I forgot the ladder match for the tag team titles. I slept through. I literally took a nap. Woke up at the end. That was the best part. And then the Cope and Cage match versus FTR. That was. I'm glad it went first. I'm like, oh sure. Like, I'm glad. Like, I don't know if it was a lot later and given more time, it'd have been like the CM Punk mixed tag. I've been like, nah, man, we were here for too long. This didn't overstay its welcome. Felt good. Love the Cena reference. You know what? Cope kicks out of like 2 shatter machines. Cope's gonna cope. And he kicks out of like 2 shatter machines, hits half a spear and wins. And you're like, well, I mean, we're in Canada, so maybe there's something in the air or something.
Yeah. The one match that, I don't know why I was holding hope for, but then once it got spoiled for me, I was just like when I went to see, like, during the game when it was like between innings, I went to like just check to see what was going on, and it had it spoiled for me. I immediately was like, I don't know why I expected any different, and again, just kind of shows me that, like, as much like how I said earlier, as much as companies will try and say things are changing and blah blah alternative this and that, they all kind of just fall to the same similar tropes. And that was the Mercedes Riho match. I was just like, as soon as I saw the outcome, I was like, I don't know why I didn't see that coming, but I guess it's because I was holding out hope for Tony Khan to be different, but nope.
You were holding space. She came out with 8 guys wearing her other belts, and I'm like, people should be mad about that. I don't know, like, they should be holding them on a pillow, maybe. Why are they wearing them? You're really like, this isn't the flex you think it is.
Yeah, as soon as I saw it, I was like, I don't know why I expected any different.
Rio, like, gets in a couple of solid, like, stomps, but that's it. Yeah, I agree with you, sir. Like, yeah. That's like really a lot of Mercedes Hogan, boilerplate. Who's into this? Who's this for?
Yeah, and then I'm happy to see Statlander get the title, but a part of me just feels like it wasn't as built up to, in my opinion. Like, there was so much going on with the women's division that, like, I don't know, it just didn't feel properly built up to, even with the build that it had,
Yeah.
Because it's like,
So like in
she's
this,
been so focused on
yeah,
other things. And so were the other like
and
three women. Like the other three women that were in this were so focused on other things. Like I don't know, it just kind of threw me off a bit because I was like, two of these women were in a separate feud that were also like feuding that included a bunch of other women. Like it was like Hater and Aminata have been feuding with Sky Blue, Tekla, and Julia Hart. Chris has been involved with Harley Cameron, Anna Jay, and that group going against who is it? Penelope Ford, Megan Bain. I think I'm trying to remember who else has been getting involved in that stuff. So it's like I just see like all those different stories, and then like they just do a 4-way match, and Statlander gets her big moment, but it just didn't feel properly built to in a sense. Like it was like I'll still take it and I'm happy with it, but like it just feels kind of weird, like that it wasn't like traditionally built to, which I guess is a good thing, because like I was just mentioning, it's getting kind of old to see companies stick to the same old, but at the same time, like I feel like this wasn't capitalized on as much as it could have. Like it's not that I wanted them to do it the traditional way because that's the only right way to do it, but it's like I felt like the traditional route might have been better just because it feels like it would have been a bigger moment in a way, like after All In, everyone was kind of just like confused as to, or sorry, not All In, all Forbidden Door. Everyone was just kind of like, well, who does Tony lose to now that like she's already beat?
yeah. Yeah, I remember having that conversation. And I agree with you, Jack. I heard somebody say that, I think this could have stood on its own as a one-on-one. Like I think Chris Statlander could have taken her on one-on-one and won convincingly.
Yeah, and
But
people were expecting like some big match for the way like these big women's feuds have been happening. Like people were expecting like Stadium Stampede, Anarchy in the Arena,
yeah,
Blood and Guts, like one of those for the women, and instead we just get this 4-way match that is meant to be like a big collision of all those different stories in the women's division right now.
I like the video package, the like 1930s movie trailer, with Tony Storm narrating.
Yeah,
4 Ways to Die. That was the title of the 4-way, and I'm like, I'll tell you what, I really like how that pulls everything together in a really cheesy way.
yeah, that was pretty fun. But overall, definitely a show I want to check out.
Definitely better than Wrestlepalooza.
Definitely. And that builds us to Crown Jewel now in Australia, which will be shown at 5 a.m. our time.
Woo!
Who's ready to sleep in and catch the replay?
Woo!
Because I know that's what I'll be doing.
Heck yeah.
But any final thoughts, sir?
No. GCW. There was a cage match, Sam Stackhouse versus formerly known as Fuego del Sol, and it was great. Just to throw one more wrestling observation, it was great. Was it as good as their I Quit match in April? I don't think so, but it was fun for all, except the guy formerly known as Fuego del Sol, KJ Orso.
All right. I wanted to update us on the standings, but I didn't write down what yours were.
Want me to tell you them?
Yeah, and I'll write them down here in my little Google Doc.
I'm not changing anything. This is literally what I told you. So I got Cena wrong. I guessed Cena. I guessed the Usos, and I was wrong. So I guessed Vaquer, Punk and AJ, and Rhodes. So I got 3 correct.
There we go. You and my dad had the same picks.
Huh.
He picked Cody, Punk and AJ, Vakor, and Cena. Hold on, I'm just highlighting these greens. All right, I'll wait to highlight them green after so that the audience doesn't have to listen to all the clicking. But so that means the two of you walk out with 3 points. I picked Punk and AJ, Vakor, both the Bronze, Cena and Drew, because I was like, surely WWE will do something different. Yeah, I picked Drew. I was like, surely WWE will do something different on this monumental show. But all three of us leave with 3 points. Because I picked Cena and Drew.
That's not good news for me, because that means I think your dad's still in the lead.
Yeah, that puts myself at 35, Mr. Solis at 33, and my dad at 37.
I'm behind you too.
Yeah, the last show really did you no favors.
Golly gee.
Because the last show, if we go back to it, actually no, it wasn't the last show because Clash in Paris was a pretty easy one to predict. It was SummerSlam that really messed us up.
2 nights. Oh, I had 2 opportunities to blow it, and I did them both.
Yeah, you got 4 total points for both nights combined. Well, my dad walked out with 7.
Yep. Nope. That was hubris. Was my downfall.
Yeah, and then we all got pretty much lucky with Clash in Paris because it was a pretty easy, predictable show, and my dad walked out with a flawless.
Yeah.
But yeah, updated standings. We're closing in on the end of the year, and that's going to be interesting to see who becomes the best predictor, and how much of a testament it will be to how easily predictable WWE is nowadays. I mean, the fact my dad walked out flawless for Clash in Paris was like the biggest signifier that it's like it's getting too easy at this point.
Yeah. We're starting to finish each other's sandwiches.
Yeah, Wrestlepalooza, not the greatest show. All Out, definitely one I want to check out. Definitely look forward, like I said, to my I'm falling out of love with wrestling video. Oh, man. And then from there, we got a couple.
I don't want to do this show with anyone else, Jack. If you leave me, I'm retired from podcasting. It's been a good run. I'm going to put out that YouTube video of me staring at the camera. I can't believe I'm going to have to make one of these. No, you know what I want to do? Oh, I don't want to keep you. I'll tell you off the air.
All right. Well, thank you all to the listening audience for joining us for yet another episode. I've been Jack, joined by my guest,
Mr. Solis.
Thank you all for joining this one, and we'll catch you on the next one.